I'm Ashleigh.
And I'm Brooke.
And you're here with us on A Teachers Who Talk Crime
podcast.
Did y'all know that Brooke won Teacher of the Year?
Hey, guys. I won.
She did it, y'all. She did it, y'all.
I did it. I was so nervous. Like, you could have heard my heartbeat from Alabama to Delaware, y'all. Like, it was crazy because secondary is the last one to be called. Obviously, like, I won for my school, and then I was a finalist for the district. So it was between me and one other teacher. And when they did elementary teacher of the year, the principal of the winner gave a statement. And people kind of figured out who it was before it was announced, given the statement by the principal, right? And so they're like, well, the principal said the following about this candidate. And I swear, if he did, that's fine, whatever. But I swear, I think my principal used ChatGPT because it was the most blanket statement. Like, very, like, yes, I do the things that were described in the statement, but it gave nothing away of like who I was. And like both the finalists, me and the other teacher, were both female. So when they said she, that didn't give it away. We both teach math. So that didn't give it away.
That's hard.
I was just like, oh my gosh, who is it? Like, it could be both of us. Oh, wait, that quality is both of us. Oh, that quality is both of us.
That's wild.
And yeah.
I probably would have pooped myself.
I won. And then James leaned over and he was like, don't ugly cry. And I was like, okay.
That's a good man, Savannah.
Yeah.
That's a good man, making sure that those pictures aren't like.
Yeah. He was like, you ugly cried. Go to the stage, get your award, but don't ugly cry.
No. That's so good, though. That's so great. Congratulations, girl.
Thanks.
Next up, State Warrior.
Yep. I hope I'm going to take on State. I think they do it very similar. Like, they do all the applications from all the districts that were involved. And then they have finalists as well. So it's a process within the state as well. But we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
I mean, she's already a crowned queen. So
I'm just so excited. Like, I don't know. It feels good to like know what you're doing is like being recognized, I guess.
I understand.
And it doesn't even have to be like teacher of the year. It could be like, as far as if you're an admin, just popping into your teacher's classrooms and being like, yo, I see you. You're doing it. Like, that just goes a long way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, it does. It's nice. I'm a words of affirmation kind of girl.
Me too.
So unless I'm hearing that I'm doing a good job, I think I'm doing horrible. So
Yep.
Same.
Same. I mean, I do the dishes and James will thank me. And I'm like, well, you don't have to thank me. And in my head, I'm like, yes, you do. You do.
Why would you say that? Don't ever say that.
Because I just, it's
your love language. It's how you feel like you're loved. That's how you receive love. So let him boost you, sis. You wash the hell out of them dishes, boo.
Yeah. So I like words too. I feed off of words. Like, I can tell you things. And that's like when people try to like, in the past, like if people have ever tried to gaslight me or say that I like use all those tactics, I'm like, the one thing you're never going to get me on is words, because I remember that ish. Like, I remember words. I can tell you when you were ugly to me. I can tell you exactly what you said. I can tell you how it made me feel. I can tell you when you were nice to me. Like, just words. Now, I can't tell you when you've ever bought me flowers, because that, although it's sweet,
I don't like stuff.
It just doesn't.
I don't like those either.
Yeah.
Gift giving is not my thing. It's words of affirmation and acts of service are my top two. Top two. Gifts could really care less about. I mean, if I receive them, I'm like, cool, great. But
thank you.
Gifts to me these days is just like money. Like, run me some money. Run me some money, because I got these bills to pay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, that was, we digressed. But yes, I did win. So yay!
She sure did.
Yeah.
Confetti.
Woohoo. Yeah.
Or what we do in my classroom, silent celebration.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because the kids they get hype.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, okay, it's snack time. And now I don't even have to say it. I'll be like, all right, guys, time to get ready for snack. And they'll be like,
I can just
it's so funny. It's so funny to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, their
But
faces are probably, like, exploding, but their hands are just,
yes.
like, waving.
Or because at the end of the day, we do free iPad time for like the kids who've like followed expectations for the day. So I'm like, all right, guys, we're getting ready to announce for silent iPad time. And someone will be like, silent celebration. Yeah. Yeah. They're cute. They're cute.
That's awful. I mean, that's not awful. That's great. I don't know. My brain has, like,
Hey,
stopped working.
I
It's just
understand.
stopped.
I
Yeah.
have been woken up anywhere between 5:45 and 6:30 every morning because I'm dog sitting for my friend, and her dog wakes up that time every morning to go to the bathroom, and
Nice.
needs to go to the bathroom, and he needs me to let him outside, and as
Mhm.
everybody is already aware, Brantisha, the school teacher, is not a morning person,
Nope.
so I'm just grumpy as ever when I do it, but
Yeah.
I always go back to sleep
Well, that's good.
afterwards.
That's
Mhm.
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
Um, Dogs are a lot. I mean, I don't have kids, but I know kids are a lot too, but dogs,
Yeah.
yes. They cannot go to the bathroom without you letting them out. They
Mhm.
don't feed
Unless
themselves.
they're a cat. Unless you get a cat.
Yeah.
Unless you get a cat, because they
Yeah.
can just go and do their thing.
Yeah. Cats are
I
I
don't
don't
mind
know.
cats. I wish
I'm
they
not a
were
fan.
cuddly like dogs,
Yeah.
and I wish I could, like, walk you like a dog, like, take you out.
Mhm.
Because I mean, you could, but people will look at you sideways, like, "Why are you walking
Your
that
cat
cat?"
would
It's
look at you sideways.
yeah, but I think I saw
So
somebody or I heard of somebody, one of the 2, outside walking their cat. I was like, "Okay, that's different.
Oh.
That's a different thing," but I was gonna get the girls a cat for Christmas, but I just don't have it in me to have a pet right now. So I'm getting them, like, their own personal adopt-a-pet stuffed animals.
That's cute.
I'm having a hard time finding accessories for said animals.
Mhm.
So if
Yeah.
anyone knows where to find fake dog accessories and fake cat accessories, please send them my way because I'm trying to find a little carrier, a little cat, nom, nom,
Mhm.
nom,
Mhm.
everything, because I need them to leave me alone for a little bit about this pet because
Yep.
they ask me all the time.
When they're getting a pet.
Yep, and they guilt trip me like, "Oh, one day when I'm older, I'm gonna have a pet." And I'll be like, "Yep, you sure will, in your own place, with your own money."
Yep. Your own time.
Yep, not
Yep.
mine. Because
Yep.
when you get tired of this cat, Imma have to take care of this cat.
Yep.
And who wanted the cat? Ew.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
but,
know.
mm.
Okay. Yeah.
If I could,
Well,
I would get a dog. I would want a Doberman, but they too
those
big
are
to be
big.
here. I want a big
That is a big dog.
I want a big dog.
The,
'Cause
Great
Imma
Dane
have to
won
walk
the,
this.
dog show over Thanksgiving. The
Oh, I
Great
like
Dane,
Great Danes
he
too.
was big.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
And the thing about Great Danes and, like, big dogs like that is they think they're this big.
They do, and they just be all up in your space.
Uh-huh, all up in your space.
Like, they gon' crush Skyline Aria
Have you met
in one
Aiko?
sit.
She literally is like,
A bulldozer and just be in your space. Like, "Girl, your little
"Your
hairs dripping
beard."
water on my feet." Like, "Girl, what is you
She's
doing?" Oh, I'm crying. Mm.
Yep. Well, we're gonna get into our
Estudiante Estrella.
Yep.
Today's Estudiante Estrella is an email, and this was the sweetest email. Let me preface this by saying all the emails we receive from like, just warm our heart, but this was from, like, a different perspective, which is
Yeah.
why, like, it hit me a little different than the other ones. And I hope I'm saying your name right. He told me I could call him Rob, but in the email, he has his actual name, and it says Rob Keys. So I'm just gonna say Rob, but Rob Keys, this is for you. And if I said it wrong, please email me and tell me how to fix it because I will re-record this on another episode and give you your flowers. Okay,
Yeah.
Rob? I will. Mark my words. Um, but Rob's review is titled Review slash Estudiante Estrella.
Yes.
It says, so first off, you two are amazing. Thank you so much for your review. My name is Rob Keys. Freefield. What is happening? See, you gave it to me now. You
Oh,
gave me
yeah.
the word.
The words.
You gave me the word jumbles. Feel free to say my name if you want or say Rob. I discovered your podcast a little over a year ago, back when we were on episode 21. Oh, a long time
I don't
ago.
even know what that one was.
When the audio was crazy, factual.
Yep.
Lugo was just getting into your early happy hours. She was.
Yep.
And Ashleigh was still in the closet. LOL. Dang, I was in that closet. I was scrunched up in there. It was hard
Yep.
for me. It was hard for me in that closet. But now I'm out here in the open with everybody. Look at
Yep.
me. Swing my arms without holding some clothes. It's different. I binged your podcast until I was caught up, which is not my normal for me. This is a reflection of both my love for both of your infectious yet admirable personalities you take into the show, but the newfound respect I have towards you both as educators, but as guides for children, which I was aloof to growing up. Those early episodes brought so much guidance and new perspectives that I will happily consider when I am a father of my own kids someday, but also a reminder to check up on old teachers and give them each a hug and a thank you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my God. Ah.
For real, come hug us, please.
Yeah.
I would like to thank you both as well for reminding me that no matter my age, teachers are still important too and a part of our lives. I fell behind in class and currently trying to catch up on episodes right now. Soon enough, I will be at the front of the class waiting for the next drop. With love, Rob.
Oh, and
Rob!
we never get like male listeners that send us stuff. So,
Right?
my gosh.
I feel like
Yeah.
we do have one. I think his name is Will on Instagram.
Yes.
Yes, we have Will. That's an OG right there.
Yeah.
But Rob,
Yeah. That was
Rob,
so sweet. That was so
Rob, that really
sweet.
warmed my heart. Thank you so much.
And it's
So-
okay to fall behind on episodes because then it gives you something to binge.
It
I like
does.
to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I do. It's a good because then you're like, oh, I'm all caught up. No, I'm not. Bing, bing, bing. And
Yep.
you're just doing it all.
Exactly.
So, Rob, thank you so much for your review. This gold star's for you. Bing.
Yeah. Well, I am going to tell the case today, and I'm not excited about this case, but I knew that I had wanted to do a case about like cult because I like got into I never been in a cult, but I got into like that documentary that just came out. So I highly recommend it. I'll post it on our story under like what we're watching currently. I did that a while back when I was watching Dexter. But it's called the Twin Flames documentary. I told Ashleigh to watch it. And it is a cult. And it just like got me back into this whole mindset of cults. So we're going to jump into the case. And I hope that you haven't heard it. Maybe we can bring awareness to it. So sit down, shut up. The murder is about to begin.
Ahora.
How far will someone go to feel accepted and loved? Would they steal? Would they lie? Would they kill? Well, for Isaac Grimes, he chose murder. But what is twisted about this confession is Grimes says it wasn't just cold-blooded murder, but a twisted version of a child's game, Simon Says. Yeah.
I'm not playing that game.
No more. Off the list. Scratch it out.
Simon Says, kill him? Like,
nope.
I quit. Immediately.
I forfeit.
Right? Simon says, but Ashleigh's not going to do that.
Nope.
Simon, you could do it.
Yep. Isaac Grimes' story starts in 1999 when he began his freshman year at Palmer High School in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Grimes was the shy, nerdy, introverted kid. He admits he was not one of the popular kids, and his parents agree, saying the following. Quote, "It was like he was set apart. He didn't relate as much to kids his own age. He read lots and lots." Grimes was best friends with a young man named Tony Dutcher, and for the most part, Tony was his only friend. They both attended high school together and hung out often. They were what you would call book smart, said Grimes's father. They both lacked common sense or social sense, one may say. Have you ever heard the saying, it's like, you have a lot of book smart, but you couldn't fight your way out of a wet paper
Brown paper
bag?
bag?
Yeah,
Mhm.
something like that. So I
Mhm.
feel like these kids were like so smart that it was like kind of hard for kids to have like they were just really, really smart kids. They were just
Mhm.
your nerdy kids.
Mhm.
Yeah. However, that same year, freshman year at Palmer High School, Grimes's life would take a turn when he somehow crossed paths with a popular senior named Simon Sue.
Simon Sue.
Simon, yep, Simon Sue.
Mm. Simon Sue and Simon Says. Sound like
Yep.
cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Simon was cool, popular, charismatic, charming, and all of the above. Everything that Grimes was not. The pair formed a connection over chess and video games, and from then on, Simon was often seen with Grimes. What Grimes probably didn't know was that Simon wasn't the hero he thought he was. In fact, Simon had a club he called the O.A.R.A, which stood for the Operations and Reconnaissance Agents. And when Grimes was offered the chance to join the club, he couldn't have known that it would ultimately be his downfall.
Mm.
But desperate to have friends and to be cool, he took the invite. Grimes said the following about the group, quote, "It was a lot of compliments, a lot of self-esteem building material, like, you're one of us, you're cool, you're a part of the group now." Grimes said he felt like he finally found his friends, his group of people, or
Mhm.
as he put it, his band of brothers. He said he felt comfortable with the older boys, which not only included Simon Sue, but also John Matheny and Glenn Urban, because they always reminded him the group would always look out for one another.
It sounds like his love language is words of affirmation too.
Yeah, but so I think I can relate this to the documentary, Twin Flames documentary, where a lot of people that said when they joined this group, the first tactic of the leader is to love bomb and like build up your confidence and like just, I mean, literally love bomb you. Like, you're amazing, you're wonderful, you're one of us, you're awesome. And it's like
Mm.
to kind of get you to break down that wall because you start to feel comfortable and like, oh, these people really care about me. Oh, they think this of me, blah, blah, blah. And then once that happens, you can kind of start targeting the person a little bit more.
Wow.
What I learned in the documentary,
So
which again,
manipulative.
highly recommend.
Yeah.
And although these new friendships seemed wonderful from the outside, Rob and Donna Grimes, Isaac's parents, had their suspicions of this newfound friendship. Rightfully so, though, because why do senior boys want to buddy up to a nerdy freshman boy who's always been a loner?
Mhm.
And not just
Seems
any
like they're
senior
targeting him.
boys, exactly. Not just any senior boys, but the cool kids, the popular kids, the
Mhm.
charismatic kids. Like, Isaac is not those things.
Yeah.
He had one friend, and now all of a sudden he's a part of this group?
Oh, but did he drop his friend?
Yes. I mean, they did part ways, yeah. I mean,
Oh.
nothing happened, like, nothing, like, bad. I mean, well,
Mhm.
but nothing like they didn't have a falling out or of sorts. I mean, he just kinda separated himself from Tony.
Okay.
His mom recalled the following, quote, "One time I had said, you know, Simon's a senior. Why is he hanging out with you?" And he said, "Because I'm smart." Donna said she always felt like something was up with Simon, but really couldn't put her finger on it. But it was a mother's intuition.
Mhm.
She believed they preyed upon the weak and they felt that her son was, in fact, one of the weak. But soon the cult like brainwashing began. According to Isaac Grimes' father, Simon Sue would threaten to kill the whole family, the whole Grimes family, and force Grimes to give him his money that he had earned from his part time job at Carl's Jr.
Not the
So
burger place.
Simon, yeah. So Simon was threatening these boys' families and was asking the boys for their money from their part time jobs.
Now, was this disclosed to his parents after the fact or like when it was actively happening?
They said they knew like that some of this was going on. They
Mm.
definitely knew of a situation, and it's not in here, but I will add it now since you did ask. But according to Grimes, and his mom and dad did corroborate this, Grimes said that Sue would like force them to like binge eat and then throw up, or just to like throw up. And so then they started noticing that Isaac was doing that at home. So they were like, like what's going on?
Wow.
Yeah. So they kind of knew some of this, but not to the like full extent.
Full extent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Simon also would expose the boys to violent videos to desensitize them to the gore and crime. Simon even ran his group like a military organization, giving the boys military rankings, making them work up in the rankings due to like their performance on certain things and their loyalty to Simon. So he was like operating a military group. Simon would often remind the boys that he was from Ghana and claimed to have ties with rebellion forces there, and would threaten them with these ties. The group started out with petty crimes such as burglary, and the boys went along with it out of fear of Simon. They claimed that he had pictures of their families and extra copies of keys to their homes that he would then use to threaten them with.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And y'all are just giving this man the keys, like, here, make a copy. And I get it, you're scared of him.
Yeah.
I understand, but like, at the end of the day, you're a child.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, they're all children,
Mm-hmm.
but you really got ties to the people over in Ghana
Yeah.
as a senior in high school.
That are with rebellion forces.
That
Yeah.
doesn't really seem credible to me, but I understand that this man worked, like, he
Mhm.
did what he needed to do to get that leverage from them. You
Oh,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Absolutely.
He broke them, he built them up, broke them down, and now they're kind of like trapped.
And even if they think back to it and they're like, there's no way he had ties. At the time, it's like, but does he? Like there's that
Mhm.
slight chance that's like,
Mhm.
maybe he does.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, Donna's fear came to be a reality on January 3rd, 2001, when police from Guffey, Colorado found Carl Dutcher, 60 years old, and Joanna Dutcher, 58 years old, dead in their home after their eldest son was unable to get a hold of them. The couple had suffered multiple fatal gunshot wounds, and upon discovering the Dutcher couple, the police quickly suspected their 15-year-old grandson, Tony. The police knew that Tony had been visiting the grandparents at the time of their deaths, and Tony's whereabouts were unknown. He was nowhere to be found,
Mhm.
making him a potential suspect in the murders right off the bat,
Absolutely.
which, I mean, they have to look at everybody. However, when the police contacted Tony's mother, Jennifer Dresser, I'm going to call you Van Dresser, it's kind of how it's spelled, she knew that he was not involved and begged police to find her son. She said to ABC News, quote, "I just kept saying, you have to find my son. He's hurt. You have to find him. Then it came to me and I said, he's in the fort." So let's break this down. Tony is 15 years old. This is Isaac's former best friend, Tony. And Tony's grandparents are found murdered, and Tony is nowhere to be found. And his mother is saying, I just feel like something's wrong. He's not involved in
Mm-mm.
the murder. Something's wrong. Oh, he must be in the fort. Now, the
Mm-mm.
fort was a campground about 100 yards from the home up a hill, and it was a boys' fort where kids would come and play games, camp out, and just be boys. It was here that the police did, in fact, find Tony, as his mother had said, but unfortunately, they did not find him alive. Tony's body was found in a sleeping bag, and his throat had been cut so deep it almost hit his spine. Tony was the third victim of the crime they had no answers to, and it would not be for a few months until they finally learned the awful truth.
Wow. He went and did that to his friend and his friend's grandparents, all because Simon Sue told you to do it?
Mm.
Wow. I
Yeah.
already know that Simon Sue is probably just out living his life right now or something. Because I
It's
know he's not getting it as hard.
But that's like what look at what Manson did. Manson did not commit those murders. Manson did not go to those houses and commit those murders. His followers were so loyal to him that
Mhm,
they would do anything he said. And he
mhm,
knew, oh, but my hands aren't actually dirty.
mhm,
I didn't do it.
mhm.
And I have
That's
alibi to prove it because I was over here.
mhm. That is
So
really just
yeah. Yeah.
mind trippy, like, that you can gain so much control over a
Yes.
person like that and really plot in your head, like, "Imma get them to do all this, and
Mhm.
then Imma be cool.
I mean, look at Jim
Imma do."
Jones. He did not kill any of those people, but he convinced them to drink a poison on their own free will. Like, and I watch these documentaries. I'm fascinated by cults, right? I'm fascinated by brainwashing. And I watched them and I told James, I was so mad the other night. I was like, how are people this dumb? Like, I genuinely think there's no way I could fall for this.
But I feel like they prey on people who
Who
would.
are
You know
weak.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we have things in place that would cause us not to fall for things
Mhm.
like that, but everybody's not as fortunate as us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So someone may not have like supportive people in their life. Some people may be self-isolating and may be down on their luck and maybe just need a win. And then this person, here they come, like a snake in the grass, like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, I want to be your friend. You're great. You're amazing. Da 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 da. And then things go by. And then it's like, hey,
So,
want to kill for me?
right. Remember
And they're
that
like,
time that I brought you out of the dungeon and brought you up to, yeah.
and then you feel at that point, you feel indebted. You're like, you're right. You did take me
Mhm.
from the trenches and bring me up here with you. And now we're here together. Of course. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm going to kill for you. Not I, said the cat.
Because
Not
the
I.
first time you say something out of pocket to me, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, mm-mm,
Watch your
nope,
mouth.
nope,
No, watch your mouth.
yeah, gotta
Not the
go,
one.
gotta go,
I'm a Scorpio. Don't talk to me that way.
yeah, no,
No.
yeah." So and I don't know. And James is like, I mean, I could definitely see how people get brainwashed. I'm like, I can't. But he was like, but Brooke, that's your brain. You're thinking with
That's
your
true.
brain, and I'm
Like,
like,
even the people, who do the scams from Nigeria,
yes,
like, who is falling for this? Like,
I know.
things are so advanced
Hmm.
now that even if I got one of those calls and it sounded like my sister, I would be like, "Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Absolutely
yeah,
no.
because
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. I just mm-mm.
I agree. But I mean, this and the Twin Flame documentary that I've been like referencing for like just for connections, they have 70,000 followers on Facebook. 70,000. Yeah. And you're like, I just don't get it. I just don't
Like,
get it.
where you why?
Yeah.
Why?
Mm, I don't even know. But yeah.
It's
So
and
that's
it's not even like cult like, because even if you take it to as extreme as like the R. Kelly stuff, like he was
oh yeah.
practically a cult too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Had these people doing all this stuff back in
Mhm.
him when he's doing X, Y, and Z, and that I'ma stick beside him. What?
Yep. Yep.
Not I, said the cat. Won't be
Mhm.
me.
Yep.
Mm-mm.
Yep. I mean,
Mm-mm.
people can argue cults all day long. If you're a religious person, people that are not religious could argue, well, you're in a cult. People that follow certain, celebrities, you say that's a cult. They could. There's tons that you can say, but I don't know. And then the science behind it though is they say that if you've ever been in an abusive relationship, that is a cult like mentality, and it's just a
Mm.
two-person cult. Your abuser is like the cult leader. They've
Yes.
brainwashed you to think that
Yep.
you can never leave, that no one cares
Mhm.
about you, you're only going to ever find them, blah blah blah. So it's very similar to what's going on in the brain in an actual cult, which that
That's
was really
crazy.
cool science to learn because I have
Mm.
been in an abusive relationship. And I think about some of the things that he said, and I know that I'm talking all big and bad. I'm like, oh, that could never happen to me. Well, a man got a hold of me and I didn't think that I was worthy of anything, blah, blah, blah. And it was hard to come out of that. So.
And now look at you.
Thriving.
Married, teacher of the year.
I think he's on marriage like number 3. He got like, I don't even know. Ain't my business.
See?
Not my
That's
circus,
not
not my
problem
monkey.
no more.
Nope. Yep. So that December 31st, 2000, Tony had been super excited to spend time with his grandparents. It was one of his favorite times of the year out on Christmas break and spending time with family and friends. This is something he did every single year. That night, Tony had told his grandparents that he was going to go camp out in the fort that he had built, and his parents were super excited for him. And a little bit about Carl, because there really wasn't much on Carl and Joanna, but I did find a little bit about Carl. Carl, Tony's grandfather, was a military veteran, and he was a licensed arms dealer, which I found really kind of eerie considering he died by gunshot. I found that super eerie. And the next morning on January 1st, 2001, Carl and Joanna Dutcher's family was shocked when nobody called them to say Happy New Year's. I mean, Tony should have at least called his parents at the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And so this was raising some alarm bells. They tried to call them all day. And after some time, they sent, the police out there and they got worried. And that is where our case leaves off. Now, what the police did not know was that Tony had not been alone. They did come to find that out, and this was evident when they found an unfinished Scrabble game that was left in the fort from the night before. So, that sounds so, and to me, it's like so creepy to think about. Like, you go in, you find Tony deceased, and then you find this unfinished Scrabble game that's like frozen in time. That's just like, to me.
Is this like an open fort? Like, because I imagine it's cold outside.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, they built it.
Like, it had it inside?
It
like
doesn't have heaters.
I just imagine it being cold, like him wanting to camp up there.
Yeah.
Colorado gets pretty cold.
It does. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just curious about that.
They also learned from Jennifer, Tony's mother, who did actually, they called her and was like, hey, you told us that Tony was in this fort. He is in the fort. Unfortunately, he has passed away. But also they were like, what else can you tell us? And Jennifer confirmed that Tony was, in fact, not alone that night. And even better, she could give the name of the boy that was with Tony. So Tony's mother told police it was Isaac Grimes, who was once Tony's best friend. And Isaac had actually joined him for the camp out that night, and the two did play Scrabble. Police contacted Isaac and brought him in for questioning, where Grimes began denying that he was with Tony Dutcher the night of the murder. In fact, Grimes denied having not seen Tony since school let out for Christmas break. I haven't seen him since we got out for Christmas break. Last time I saw him was at school. I wasn't at the fort. I never went over there. Nothing.
Yeah.
With no proof, DNA, or a confession or any evidence at this point, they did have to let Grimes go because they could not place him at the scene. However, it wouldn't be long, roughly about 2 months of investigating, before guilt and his antagonizing mother would get to him. So shout out to Grimes' mom. I understand that what she went through was just as hard because ultimately, like, her son is a convicted felon. Like,
yes.
I get that it's hard, but something in her gut didn't sit right. And she kept pressuring Isaac over and over and over and begging him, just tell the truth, just tell the truth, just tell the truth. And with guilt, along with your mom, who basically feels like you're guilty, he did, in fact, finally crack. While Grimes did fight with his demons, the event that took place still stumped the police. They were at a kind of a standstill. Like, can't put Isaac there. The mom's saying Isaac's there. Isaac's saying he's not there. Nobody is giving anybody an alibi. We're just kind of stumped. The investigator, Bob Horn, said, quote, "If you don't have motive, you don't have any readily identifiable suspects. We never knew why. We probably had done 100 or more interviews on this. Ultimately, we knew that we were going to break the case." So yes, Grimes eventually confessed to his mother and to the police that he had been the one to kill Tony Dutcher. Now, this came about 2 months after the murders had taken place. And like I said, it came about because one, guilt. He's 15. He has no rationale in his brain. There's no telling what demons he was fighting. And his mom's just like poking a bear, literally like just poking and poking and poking. And good for her, because justice did ultimately get served in this case. But I know that it must have been hard as his mother.
Yeah.
Now, even though Grimes did eventually confessing, no one could have fathomed what the details would be and how it was all a twisted loyalty check to Simon Sue and his group, the O.A.R.A. The murder was told to police by Grimes, saying that it was how he was meant to prove his loyalty to Simon and to the group. It was a test, but not just any test. See, Grimes was on probation with the group at the time, and the murder was a way to secure his spot back in, get into Simon's good graces.
Why was he on probation? Do we know?
That's unclear.
Okay.
What was discovered was that Grimes had in fact slashed Tony's throat while Matheny shot the elderly couple. Tony's
Was
grandparents.
he on probation too?
Now, Grimes was the only one that was like doing this loyalty check, but somehow Matheny also got told to be a part of this. Grimes can't drive. Matheny is older. He has a car.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. Now, Matheny was the one who shot the elderly couple with an assault rifle. Now, Grimes admitted that although he did not pull the trigger, he was present when the couple was shot. And what's really eerie is a rifle that was used to kill the Dutchers, Carl Dutcher, had actually shown Grimes how to shoot a similar rifle that same year while he was hanging out with Tony and his family. And that just goes to show, like, Isaac was at this house often. Like, this was a residence that he knew. Like, Tony was his best friend. Tony's grandparents knew Isaac. Carl himself showed Isaac how to shoot a high-powered rifle. And then it was a rifle that ended up killing him.
It's crazy.
I don't know. That was eerie to me. Grimes said that the whole ordeal was, in fact, ordered by Simon. And it was to prove his loyalty to Simon and the group. Now, once the two had murdered the Dutcher family, they called Simon, who was in Canada with his family over holiday break, and told him that, quote, the mission was done.
Wow. Wow. Not him just being in Canada.
But remember, like, now Simon has an alibi. Like, I mean, his hands are clean according to... Yep. Exactly. What Grimes disclosed to police when he confessed, it implicated Jonathan Matheny, 17 years old. Now, Jonathan was also a member of Simon Sue's group, the O.A.R.A., which is why he's a part of this whole ordeal to begin with. With this, both boys were charged with first-degree murder and then transferred to the Park County Jail. Grimes also gave other names, which led to the raid of a home nearby where multiple weapons were then recovered, and police informed the public that other arrests would possibly be made in the murder investigation.
Wow.
Now, the weapons that were recovered were that of Simon Sue's. And what police said was it literally was like Simon had a whole... Is it called an artillery? Like, where you have just a whole, like, I mean, it was just guns upon guns. He had, like, a
I
stash
feel
of guns.
artillery.
I think it's an artillery.
I feel
I'm
like it
almost there.
sounds like that. I mean, if
Yeah.
it's not, everybody
Yeah,
makes
y'all know it,
mistakes.
but y'all also know what I'm talking about. He just had,
Mhm.
like, tons of guns. Just guns, guns,
But
guns, guns.
how? He's a child.
You know, that's a great question. Mhm.
'Cause somebody got
Yeah.
a bodies for you.
But remember, they also went and, like, robbed a bunch of houses, and they would often go and rob for people's guns. Like,
Got
that's
you.
what they would
Okay.
steal. That's what they would
Okay.
steal. Yeah.
Okay. Understood.
Mhm. Along with this information, Judge Stanley Mayhew said he planned to have the boys charged as adults in this case. Now, this came with the possibility that the boys could receive the death penalty, but that decision would be made later on in the trial.
Okay.
Now, Grimes was getting real comfortable and became quite the chatty Cathy once his mouth started going. But John, on the other hand, that was implicated by Grimes, not so much. However, John did eventually speak out saying that he was not involved in the murders, that he was only the driver that night, but he did not kill anyone and he never went inside the Dutcher home. He claimed that the murders were just a robbery gone wrong and that the only person involved was Grimes himself.
Wow.
The murder was not, in fact, a plot or organized by a teenage cult and definitely not a shot called by Simon Sue. He said that they were only there to steal guns. Yep.
Hmm.
And when police asked him, well, who do you think killed them? He said, I don't know because I wasn't there. But you just said you were. Like you literally
Mhm.
just said that you were the driver.
Mm. So you were there, but you weren't in there? Like, is that what
Yeah.
you mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm. Okay.
Isaac Grimes' mother, Donna, spoke out about the tragic event, saying that she knows her son was mixed up with the wrong people and adding the following, quote, our son did a horrible thing and we don't know why, but he's our son and we love him. He's remorseful and he will be paying for it. There's nothing to justify this and there's nothing, just not a darn thing to do about it.
Mm.
Simon Sue was next to be arrested for the conspiracy to commit murder and to violating Colorado's organized crime laws. Because apparently you just can't have a cult just running around.
Yeah, it's just not
Like,
really
not a thing.
something you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. hmm He said he wasn't the evil genius people were saying that he was, adding, quote, if you look at my high school records, I did poor in school, my IQ. I'm not a genius by any sorts. In fact, I have an average IQ. And what he was getting at was he was comparing himself to other cult leaders like Jim Jones and Charles Manson, who did in
Okay.
fact have very high IQs.
Mhm.
Sue was nothing in comparison, though. And that's what he was trying to say. Like, I'm not like them. I'm not very smart. There's no way
Mhm.
I can be a cult leader. I
Organize
don't,
this.
yeah. That's what he was trying to
Okay.
convince people. However, when asked about his charm and charismatic nature, he said, charisma is in the eye of the beholder, smugly. So you might not have like good grades, but I feel like you're definitely a narcissist.
You have a
Li-
little
Yeah.
mhm,
Um,
a little
a little
sprinkle, a little
sprinkle. Yeah.
seasoning. 'Cause the way you saying that, like, "It's in the eye of the beholder," like, shut up.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
How about that?
We don't like you.
No.
Simon Sue said that the club was nothing more than just a boys' club. Like, we're like shocked. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's just a boys' club. He said that Grimes imagined it as more, and he denies any claims of brainwashing and indoctrination. Simon said that he only pled guilty because his mom begged him to plead guilty out of fear, given that 9/11 had just happened and Simon had, quote, foreign appearance. She thought that he would get a life sentence had it gone to trial.
Okay.
hmm
That's okay.
And I kind of like 9/11, people didn't really know what was going on, right? Like people were, I don't know. I don't remember. I was in 4th grade. I mean, I do remember it. Let me correct myself. I remember 9/11 very vividly, but I don't know like all of the ins and outs of like the highs and lows in politics and all that stuff that went on at the time. I was young. So I don't know. She was kind of, his mom was like, well, due to his appearance, had he gone to trial just based off of his appearance, I feel like he would have gotten a tougher sentence had he just
Mhm.
not pleaded guilty.
Yeah.
So that was kind of her reasoning behind it. But he
Okay.
was like, I never wanted to plead guilty. I'm not guilty. This is all in Grimes' imagination. None of this actually happened.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. At trial, the defense, we already know what the defense is going to say. They're going to say that Simon Sue brainwashed Grimes and that Grimes was in fear of his life and saw no other way out. And it was the only way to prove his loyalty to Simon, who was threatening to kill his family, yada, 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 right? We
Yeah.
know that that was the defense. That's what they were going to go with. However, prosecution had different views on the matter. The prosecution claimed that Grimes made his own choices, even adding to the fact that Grimes was once left in charge of the group while Sue was out of town. Grimes was actually the one who picked the Dutcher family out as targets, according to the prosecution.
Mm.
Now, Grimes himself says something completely different, obviously. Now, the defense disagrees, saying that it was Simon who picked the Dutchers, claiming that they were racist and they had to die. So, no one is really sure why it was the Dutchers that got the target that night, but nonetheless, it was the Dutcher family that ultimately paid the price.
I feel like if Simon did all of this, um, having Isaac kill his best friend, like his
Mhm.
ex-best friend, would have been like the ultimate test.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like that
Yep.
sounds like something diabolical that he would set
Yeah.
up, like, "I'm your only friend. Like, these
Mhm.
are your only friends in this club. So in order to show your loyalty to us, you need to kill him."
Mhm.
That's what that's what
Yep.
was going through my head the whole time. Like, that
Yep.
seems like something that would go down. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I took it too.
Mhm.
And I think that, in my opinion, I think Simon played it well because he knew he was gonna be out of town. It's
Mhm.
Christmas break. They knew where
Mhm.
Tony was gonna be because Isaac knows Tony's schedule. Like, I do in fact think that Simon was the master manipulator behind this whole ordeal. I do think he brainwashed them. I mean, there was so much evidence pointing to the fact that this was a cult.
Yeah.
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 Now, the prosecution wanted to paint this picture and point out to the jury, like me and Ashleigh just said, that this murder was very personal and that Grimes went beyond a level of betrayal when he nearly decapitated his best friend. And I
Mhm.
think that not only did you cut his throat, but the level in which you did it
Mhm.
does have to speak volumes. I mean, it has to
Yeah.
be worth saying.
Yeah. It almost went all the way, like, practically
Yes.
through. Like, that's
Mhm. Yep.
mm-mm.
And then they also go on to read some of Grimes's like confession as to how he did it. I didn't put that in here. It was a little
Mhm.
graphic, but he basically told his friend that he saw a light and then he was like, "No, you got to look." And he said, "Oh, you're not seeing it." And he like got behind him so that he could turn his head a certain. It was, yeah, he planned it. He planned it. There's no doubt about it. He did what he did. Now, Isaac Grimes was originally sentenced to 60 years in prison.
Wow.
Police also arrested Simon Sue and ultimately gave him 53 years in prison. Now, this didn't sit well with the judge in this case because he did not believe that his sentence of Isaac was fair in comparison to that of Simon Sue's. The judge said, quote, "You are the youngest defendant. You were the first to confess. You aided the police. You should be the defendant that receives the lowest sentence."
Mm.
He added before reducing the sentence to 50 years with the following statement, quote, "I realize I made a mistake in sentencing you to more than Simon Sue." So he took off 10 years of his original sentence. So it went from 60 to 50, whereas Simon Sue got 53 years.
53. Mm.
Mhm. Now, as generous as this was, the judge was still firm on the fact that Grimes did not deserve unlimited mercy. Grimes told the judge he believed he did in fact deserve mercy because he was brainwashed and feared for his life. But the judge was like, yeah, so that may be the case, but if everyone was allowed to use that as an excuse, then everyone would just kill and then come into the courtroom and claim, oh, I was brainwashed. And that's what the judge told him. Like, the judge was like, no, because if I allow that to slide, like, then that's going to tell everybody
Then it's
they can
gonna
do
have
that.
to,
Yeah.
and that's another thing that everybody gonna use to try and get out of stuff. No.
Right. It's just like when they invented the insanity plea and now everybody wants to plead insanity when you in
I
fact
was
are not
unwell.
insane. Yeah.
I was unwell.
I mean, no. Simon, on the other hand, made claims that he knew nothing about the murders and that the group was nothing more than a citizens group and a way to extort money from the boys. So Simon did end up admitting that he did take money from the boys and that it was just a citizens group. Now, I don't know what a citizens group is. I don't really know what that is. I've never heard of a citizens group. It sounds like a bunch of old people in a bingo hall, but that's just my definition of a citizens group.
See, I was thinking more like citizens, like kind of like a not a safety patrol, like a neighborhood watch, like citizens. Like we're gonna do right by the neighborhood, pick up the litter, paint the park posts, you know, something. Yeah.
Like, okay. Yeah. Well, Simon also did, in fact, admit later on that that call that was made did, in fact, happen. And Jonathan Matheny, ended up speaking out and he ended up saying that the call did happen. So they did have sufficient evidence to say, like, the call after the murders took place, which did involve Simon Sue. So it's like, you're not as innocent as you think you are, buddy.
Like, why would they contact you about this if you knew nothing about it?
Right. Exactly. Let's fast forward a little bit where all the boys are now serving time in prison. And let's rub a little salt in a wound for the Dutcher family, a wound that will never, in fact, heal. Isaac Grimes, wrote a letter to Charles Dutcher, the father of Tony and the son of Carl and Joanna, the deceased victims. The letter was in response to Charles filing a wrongful death lawsuit against Grimes, which he has a right to do. In this letter, Isaac Grimes wrote things like, quote, I just don't want you to continue hurting yourself and shutting yourself out of the kingdom of heaven. Grimes also said that Charles should read the Bible, particularly on forgiveness, claiming that Charles liked to talk the talk of being a Christian, but not walk the walk. This letter obviously upset Charles as he still lives in the home where his parents were killed. And he said he still looks at the bullet holes in the walls. And for Grimes to preach to him was very, very upsetting. Grimes ends the letter saying, quote, I will value your forgiveness greatly should you choose to give it. But if you don't, however, it won't bother me in terms of how I feel about me. But it is painful to see you and your brothers harboring unforgiveness because of how much you hurt yourselves by doing so. God has forgiven me, and if someone's opinion of me differs from him, who should I value more? Ending the letter with saying, quote, let's start with the topic of the civil suit. Whether I win or lose is quite irrelevant to me. I have no assets and no income, but rest assured that your attorney fees will be paid, quite likely by you in the event that you can't find someone with assets to sue.
The audacity.
The audacity.
The audacity of this man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really care if you forgive me because what was the purpose? What was the reason of this? Why would you?
If you literally have nothing to pay this man in a civil suit, then why does the civil suit even affect you? Why do you even feel like you have to write to him? If you know that this man can get nothing from you because you're serving the rest of your life in prison, you're serving 50 years. I mean, maybe not the rest of your life, but you're serving 50 years. If you know that he can take nothing from you because you owned nothing, then why are you so bothered that you felt you needed to write him a letter telling him that he needed to forgive you and that he's not actually a Christian and da 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 da. And
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
yeah,
Mm-mm. That was not very kind.
no.
That was
Mm-mm.
not it. Like, I just don't understand, like, the intention behind the letter. Like, you're
Right.
trying to get this man upset, and he's already going through a lot, living in the
Yeah.
home, looking at these things, like, he's hurting,
Yeah.
and this further hurt him
Mhm.
when all he's trying to do is get, some type of justice.
But you're over here preaching forgiveness and like you're some holier than thou saying God has forgiven you. And I
And
believe
how
in
do
a
you know that? And how do you
well,
know that? Did you
right.
speak to him? Did he come
And
down
I,
and speak to you and was like,
I
"Hey."
believe in it. I believe in a forgiving God. I do. But here's the thing. Let's say that you did turn your life around. Right now you are living for Jesus. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
but like what would Jesus do? He wouldn't have wrote that letter
Sure
because
wouldn't
all
have.
you're doing is taunting somebody and Jesus ain't gonna taunt people. So really, you're the hypocrite.
And you're showing people that you're, like, really not practicing what you preach. Talking about
Right.
forgive, forgive, forgive. I'm this good person. I'm this good person. Good people don't do this.
Mm-mm.
Good
No.
people don't hurt people. Hurt people hurt people.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
heal
Correct.
yourself, sir.
Yep.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Now, we are going to end on the mother of Tony Dutcher. Jennifer, the mother of Tony, publicly expressed her forgiveness towards her son's murderers,
Wow.
advocating for a reduced sentence based on her belief that he was, in fact, brainwashed and manipulated.
Wow.
So you have the dad that is like wanting justice even more
Mhm.
and hasn't quite gotten there yet with the
Mhm.
remorse. And then you have mom who's like, I do in fact believe he was brainwashed and manipulated because they knew
Mhm.
this kid. Keep in mind, this kid was their son's friend. Like they knew him.
Yeah.
And she like goes on to say like how he was a good kid and like she does believe that he was manipulated, like he was a very smart kid and that she has expressed her forgiveness.
Wow.
Now, this definitely took some time because dealing with this devastating loss of her son, Jennifer faced a lot of struggles. Like she did not immediately just forgive. She had multiple suicide attempts.
Oh.
She had depression, she had anxiety, and she also chose one night to drown her sorrows in alcohol. And she drove intoxicated, which caused a
Mm.
fatal collision on the
Mm.
interstate. And this caused her to go to prison for 5 years. And it
Wow.
was in prison that she found forgiveness for
Wow.
Isaac.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yep. And now, out of prison, she says that she's on a better path and she channels her emotions by corresponding with Isaac in prison. And she has empathy towards him.
Wow. So they're in communications.
Hmm.
Wow. She's
Yep.
better than me.
Oh, 100%.
She's
A
better than
hundred
me.
percent.
I'm not talking to you. We're
No,
not having a conversation.
no. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
That's gonna have to be a strike on my docket when I get to heaven. You didn't
That's
forgive them.
fine.
Well, I'm sorry, Jesus.
Nah, I couldn't. That was my child.
Sorry. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. Mm-mm.
And that is the Simon Says case.
Wow.
Yep.
I
I
don't ever wanna
mean,
play that game again.
no, but like,
Ever.
okay, so do you think he might have acted on some free will alone, or do you think that he was manipulated?
I think he was
In
manipulated
Yeah,
100%.
I do
100%.
too.
I don't think he did that by himself. I think that, they ended their friendship, whichever way, because, he found this new group of friends. And I
Mhm,
really truly believe that Simon was like, look, if you really want to be a part of these boys, you really want to be a part of this squad, you need to kill the one person who you
mhm,
thought higher of me then. You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
the one friend that you had, they don't get 100%. He did that.
The only thing I do find weird that I couldn't find anything on is that 4th member of the group, Glenn. Glenn
Mm.
was not involved at all, like, they had no evidence of him being involved, but they also didn't have anything where, like, Glenn spoke out, and I don't know if that's just because he was a minor and his parents were probably like, our kid wasn't involved. Don't even talk to our kid.
I could see that.
I would be very interested to hear Glenn's perspective of how the group was operated and ran. Like, I feel like he would be able to put the bow on top of the present and say, yeah, actually, we were brainwashed. And now as an adult, I feel comfortable saying that because this, in fact, did XYZ did happen.
Yeah, I could. Okay.
So, Glenn, if you would like to speak to us, our email is teachers.crime podcast@gmail.com.
It sure is. Or you could DM us on Instagram.
Or you can DM us. I would love to hear your perspective on this case.
Yeah, because Simon did it. Simon said.
Simon
some of y'all did. So you didn't do, but we want to know what else he was doing within the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
So if you search for this case and you are searching names, you probably won't find a lot. It is, in fact, called the Simon Says Murders.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for bringing us that cult.
You're welcome.
Culty case. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now I'm just going to be weary of who my kids are friends with now. So.
Right. And what games they're playing.
And not Simon Says.
Nope.
No one's saying nothing.
Nope. This is a quiet household. Yep.
All right. Well, it's late.
Yeah.
I got work in the morning. I only had a 2.5 day work week, so.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
Why?
Tuesday, I took a personal day because it was the only day I could get the girls to get their hair done. And it needed to be done expeditiously. Today I had a doctor's appointment in the morning. I had to follow up with my ENT. Don't have sleep apnea, everyone.
Woohoo! Yeah.
So I get to keep my tonsils, even though they're super large. And then Friday, I'm chaperoning the girls' field trip. And then I have a follow-up appointment for O.A.R.A. So, yeah.
And that'll be, chaperoning would be like, you still are at work.
No, I had to put in a day because I'm not.
Oh, even for, wow. Okay.
Yep.
Wow. All right.
So I'm pretty much running through my days, but everything's fine.
And we have a guest on next week's episode, so stay tuned. All aboard. We're setting sail.
Oh, I was like...
We do?
I'm literally like, but we just released that episode. But I'm thinking of the other.
Yeah.
Never mind, everybody. Everything's fine.
Yep.
Everything's fine. I got it.
That was your little clue, by the way.
So who do you think it is?
Hey. Yep.
All right. Well, while y'all ponder on that, we're going to go.
Yep.
So as always, the bell don't dismiss you.
We do.
So we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.